us on Geek Blur, the show you can't ignore. Ray and Kevin diving deep into all things galore. Comic book, movie, sci-fi, and action thrill. Reviewing new TV shows, we keep it real, real. Reminiscing the Attitude Era, wrestling at its peak. Nostalgia from the 80s and 90s, memories we seek. Pineapples for our rings, a unique touch. Geek culture in our blood, we love it so much. Geek Blue forever, we love it so much. Geek Blur, where we talk about it all, from superheroes to wrestlers. We stand tall, Ray and Kevin, the dynamic duo in sight. Geek Blur, shining bright, shining bright. Did you hear about Pluto? That's messed up, right? Geek Blur, taking you on a nostalgia flight. From movies to TV, we cover it all. Join us and every week we'll have a ball. Shuffle.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's happening, bro? Just kicking it. Just kicking it.
Kicking it old school.
Yes, I can.
Can I kick it? Oh, yes, you can. We are going to have a half a show and tell this week because you got your Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to get me mine sometime this week. But we're going to open up yours with a quick half of a show and tell. So many geeky things that we could pull off from the shelf. We've been collecting shit for years and now we're whipping it out. So it's time to showcase all the money that we wasted well. C'est la vie, say the old folks. It's Geek Blur Show and Tell. What you got, Kevin?
All right. Well, I pre-opened these and just slid them under my bed, so because I knew that might be an issue. I see these boxes all the time, and they're kind of difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Okay. First up, not a surprise. You told me, Death of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the full one?
That is the full, the full run of just the Death.
Ooh, are these Terminator comic?
That is a Alex Ross special edition foil cover that came out, I believe, this year.
Nice.
That's the comic book that I was talking to you about. That came out in the 90s. That's his first artwork that he did. It's a re-release that came out, I think, this year.
Nice. They might have to go up on the wall.
Yep.
And Superman Forever.
Yes, it's a 3D Alex Ross cover.
Nice.
And
I
there's
know
a matching
right off the bat the Alex Ross.
Yep.
Excellent.
And if you remember that cover, I think we had it as one of our covers for our podcast way back in the day of the Changing Superman. Yeah.
Yep.
I always loved that picture.
Nice.
Yep. And I believe you got your Penguin finally. Your Penguin newspaper that I saved months and months and months ago.
Excellent. Multiple. Did you give me multiple?
Yes, because we found out how much they were online if you wanted to sell them or give them away.
Perfect. Well, I know a friend in Philadelphia. Shout out to Mark. I'll probably be seeing him on my way down. I may have to give him one and then hang on to the other two. And a frame for it. Thank you very much. Excellent. I can't wait to get you your stuff.
Wait, no. That's not a frame. What's underneath the Penguin?
It's
not? No. That is not a frame.
I just assumed it was a frame.
No.
It's wrapped in bubble wrap.
Yes. That is a rare record store exclusive. They are very hard to come by, and I got a great deal on it from one of your favorite movies, one of your favorite soundtracks.
Office Space vinyl.
I don't know if you have a record player. I don't know if you've had any records or not.
No, I'm gonna have to. My father just got a record player. I can't wait to swap out his record for this one and see what happens. But that is awesome.
Yeah, I figured if you don't have any records, it's a good start to your collection. So
that was one of my favorite soundtracks for in high school.
Yeah, I remember you used to play it all the time driving around in your car. Yep.
Back in the
And then,
day.
of course, Of course, I got a free print that was I got a frame for $5. I gave that to you too as a glass. I don't know if you have it close by there or
Wait,
not.
where is it?
I handed it was the glass print with crypto.
Yep. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I hadn't hung it up yet because I was waiting.
Yeah, I got that for free because I bought a print and that was stuck to the bottom of it. I don't know if they accidentally sent it or they just sent me an extra one. It's like, wow, that's pretty fucking cool.
So you got the same print?
No, I got a different one. It was just underneath the one I got.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah.
Which one did you get? Do you have it?
As a matter of fact, I don't know if I can reach it right now, but it's it's that comic book, the Superman Alex Ross comic book, but it's it's the Superman changing. It's the whole thing. Right next to me over here. Yeah. So now you can start your vinyl collection with all your favorite albums.
Something else I don't need to get attached to.
Something
you know me once
you
I start.
Don't need to.
That's the issue with these single issues I've been buying is I'm like, oh, this is great. I'll just read it until the run is over, or until I decide I don't like it anymore. But then I think to myself, I'm like, I'm such a completionist. I'm probably going to keep buying them just to complete the entire run. I'm like, God damn it! This is why you told me that was a dangerous game to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very dangerous. So let's talk about what we watched this week. Get into the show. We had a finale. We had Skeleton Crew. The finale came out this week. I am not too high on how the show ended. I think the beginning was pretty good, but it just left me wanting a lot more from Star Wars. And I know this is made for kids, and we've talked about it in the last few weeks, how it's kind of not in our demographic anymore.
No.
Although I don't truly believe that, because even if you go back and watch Star Wars in 1977, that was kind of like a generational movie. That was for everyone. You'd be an adult, you'd be a kid, and still love that movie. Those movies that came out in the 80s and 70s. But for this show, for what it was, we kind of knew what it was going to be going in. It's galaxy adventure of these kids getting lost in space with Jude Law being this weird adult figure who's either a Jedi, which we find out he is a Jedi, kind of. And we also find out the real leader of this secret planet that they live on, which is this mining planet for droids. The droids run it. There's no real bad guy. There's nothing. This kind of just ended with a whimper to me. It went from the Goonies to a bank heist, and that's the whole reason that Jude Law is there. The pirates are there to try to get all this Republic credits from underneath the city. And Jude Law, you find out, was found as a foundling right before Order 66. He was a Padawan for a young master, and he actually witnessed her being hunted down during Order 66. Get a really quick, brief couple of sentences just to find out that information. Would have loved to see that in a flashback, or would have loved to see that in something. Always wanting more for stuff like that, but we just got a couple sentences to tell us his backstory. But not sure if this is going to continue. I do like his character. I like that he's force sensitive in a time when the New Republic is right after we're after Empire, we're after Return of the Jedi. So this is set right around the time of Mandalorian, right? So it could be anywhere in this universe. Could even show up in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. We don't know. But Dexter was preempted this week. We didn't talk about episode 6. We didn't talk about episode 6 last week.
We did not.
But
what an episode.
We'll talk about it a little bit.
Had fun with it.
Yeah, I don't remember much about it. It's been a week or so, but
Dexter gets a blowjob.
Yes, that's the one thing I remember is Dexter gets a Hummer in the bathroom. The other thing is, I wanted to bring this up because we've been talking about the casting. They've been casting a lot of inner city things in New York City. And the casting call this week was for line cooks and butchers for background roles in Manhattan. So all signs are pointing to Dexter Resurrection being set in New York City, as far as we know.
So, I should apply?
Well, I wouldn't. If you can go down there and spend some time down in New York while they're filming in the next month or two, go ahead.
Now,
they are looking for extras. It's the worst. You're just sitting. You're just sitting and doing nothing.
You sit around for. Did we talk about this last week? I feel like we did. Or we talked about it. You literally just sit around for like 16 hours for like 20 minutes of work.
Yeah.
It's. I've heard it's pretty awful for like a fucking free ham and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, you don't get much from it, and if you make any movement, they can take you right off the set because they want you to be in an extra background,
Yep.
no noise whatsoever for the scene. So, I watched a couple of things, a couple of documentaries actually. Just brought it up in the beginning of the year. It's like I don't think the documentaries are going to match up to what we got last year, but we got two great documentaries in the third week of January. I want to talk about. First one is Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action. This came out, two-part documentary on Netflix. This is very, very good. Modern version of Roman Coliseum is what they kind of chalked up Jerry Springer to be. If you grew up in the 90s, Jerry Springer was everywhere. It was on TV. It was smut television.
In all honesty, we should have got sound clips from Vince Russo talking about watching Jerry Springer while he wrote WWE television for 4 years. Like, they would literally just watch Jerry Springer and write Raw.
Yeah, and basically it was taking that audience for the mindless soap opera, smut television that was big. I mean, Howard Stern was big back then. WWF Attitude, like you mentioned, WCW, all came out of this shock value. The influence on pop culture everywhere. It was everywhere. Everybody was going, Jerry, Jerry. Still do to this day whenever somebody gets in a fight. In the beginning, he was fighting for ratings against Oprah. Oprah was huge in the 90s, early 2000s, huge in the ratings. Eventually, he did top her, becoming the king of daytime talk, which is huge for considering that she was bad-mouthing him in the press. The press was bad-mouthing him. He was getting in a lot of trouble. One of the things he got in trouble for in the documentary, about I think it was halfway through, there was a blind guy that came on the show, and he married a donkey. And in the show, they actually ended up making out on the show.
Well then, the donkey and him?
Yes. And
just clarifying, just making sure we got all the information correct.
Yes. It was controversial, of course. It was all over the news, all over the newspaper saying, oh, this is disgusting. How dare they? Controversial, yet it created a nationwide media outcry and eventually a buzz that brought more people in to watch the show and turned it into a legendary status. It's unbelievable what happened. There was also a love triangle murder case where 3 people came on the show. And one of the women that was in this love triangle with this other guy and a woman, she ended up getting killed over being on the show and this big love triangle thing that was going on. And you got a lot of scrutiny from that. Scrutiny. That's it. I'm sick, everyone, so bear with me. So I got a lot of scrutiny for that, and he just died. Was it last year? And he was.
Did he?
Yeah, he just died. Yeah, last year, year before.
There's a bunch of deaths since COVID that have happened that I just keep forgetting about.
Right.
Bring them up.
The show ended back 2018, I believe. It's not that long ago. The show ended, and he died not too soon after that. So, great documentary if you want to learn more about behind the scenes of how the show was created. A lot of people thought it was a fake show. They were.
I mean, it was. New Jack was legitimately on it, being paid to be somebody that isn't real.
For the most part, the documentary makes it sound like the people that were coming on the show were the ones that were manipulating what was fake and what was not. Everybody, as far as they were concerned, was real. Don't know how real they're talking, but yeah, great documentary. It's on Netflix. The other documentary that I need to talk about, which left me wanting more, SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night. This is a 4-part documentary. This is on Peacock. And the 4 episodes, it's great. I was going into this, I was thinking, well, shit, they're going to talk about the whole history of how this show happened. It would be great to see an episode talking about the Farley, Adam Sandler years, talking about how the show was created, but it wasn't done like that. It wasn't done in a linear from the beginning to the end of current times. It wasn't anything like that. The first episode was all about the casting process, the 5-minute auditions that everybody goes through to get on the show. Talked a lot about failed auditions. Some of them we've heard of. Jim Carrey, Jennifer Coolidge, Mindy Kaling right before The Office, Kevin Hart, we've heard of that one. Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, yep. Jordan Peele before he got onto Mad TV. A lot of these guys are before they got onto Mad TV.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen Colbert, who I think did Ambiguously Gay Duo later on for Robert Smigel. But before that, he actually did an audition for the show. But second episode talks all about the writer's room, talking about the table reads, testing the material at dress rehearsal, filming the pre-tapes, the stuff that they do that's not in front of the audience, and then eventually going live, all within like 5 days, a little bit more than 5 days to do all that. Reminded me a lot of South Park. South Park does their show within 6 days, keeps it fresh. And episode 3, this is where the non-linear part of it, because I was thinking, what's going on with this series? Why are they separating it out like this? Well, episode 3, they took one segment, probably one of their most famous segments ever on the show, the cowbell, more cowbell with Christopher Walken, with Will Ferrell doing the cowbell and everything. Everybody knows that. It's been on all over the internet. It's a meme. It's a saying that everybody says online and in real life at the water cooler. Need more cowbell. Well, they talked about it. It's a whole hour-long documentary of the more cowbell scene, how it came to be. They actually did a little mini documentary of Blue Oyster Cult in there too. This is great. Then episode 4 talks about 1986. This is 10 years after the show debuted, the 11th season, and it was Lorne Michaels coming back after being gone for 5 years. He left in 1980, came back in 1986 because the show, they just wanted a new guy to come in, and they said, well, Lorne knows what he's doing, let's bring him in. So they brought Lorne in, and the whole entire cast of the 10th season, which included Billy Crystal, Martin Short, some great comedic actors, was all let go. And they brought in a brand new cast for the 11th season, a younger cast, talking about bringing in people that were younger, like the Brat Pack was big at this time. You had Breakfast Club. So they were bringing in gambling on the Breakfast Club. They brought in Robert Downey Jr., Anthony Michael Hall, who was his friend. That's why Robert Downey got brought in. Randy Quaid, fresh off the Vacation movies. Joan Cusack, Damon Wayans before In Living Color. Dennis Miller, John Lovitz, who ended up staying after this season. But pretty much everybody that was in this season, because it failed so miserably, the ratings tanked throughout the whole season because they didn't bring any comedians in. It was all serious. Like, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't a comedian. He was just a serious actor. And you can't do that on a live show like this. It's full of improv comedy. You can't do that. They had magic segments with Penn and Teller, too. That's kind of where they got their start, through the American Lexicon. So after this season ended, everybody got fired except for John Lovitz and Dennis Miller. They brought in a whole new cast the next year, Dana Carvey, and a lot of names that everybody's familiar with for the next 10 years. So great documentary, but left me wanting more. Where this tackled little pieces of the history. I would have loved to see something like, if this continues, I would love to see more. I would love to see a whole episode on Farley, a whole episode on anything, like how they all got fired. There was one season where Farley, Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, David Spade all got fired in one night. Lorne Michael called them and said, "You're not coming back next season." And this is when they were at their height. This is when Adam Sandler had already done Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore. Chris Farley had already done Tommy Boy. They all got fired overnight. And I don't know if they didn't want to keep up with the pay or what it was at the time. This is like 95, 96. But yeah, I'd love to see an episode on that. I don't know if this will continue. I haven't heard any news on that or not, but I cannot hear you. Oh, you are muted. Hold on. Your mic isn't connected. Are you there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it is weird.
My mic must have lost connection. It mutes you automatically when you join back in. What was I going to say? All right, this also would have been around the time Sandler would probably be asking for a major pay raise.
Yep.
Because he'd already had that much
part
success. So I'm sure that's part of it on his end.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Probably. It probably was part of it. So yeah, this is on Peacock. I recommend it. 4 episodes, about an hour long. It's good to get into. But and you watched something I had no idea it was out. I had just heard about it today when you put it in the notes. Mm-hmm. Dark Side of the Cage. We love Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes.
This is taking the UFC. This is taking cage fighting, and throwing it on its heels with 10 episodes, starting this week with Kimbo Slice, which I've heard a lot about. Yeah, give your reaction to the episode.
It's fucking awesome.
Nice.
Especially, well, at least the first episode. I'm sure there's going to be some downers because there's been so many fighters throughout the years, and with UFC, you're kind of in and out. You try to keep up as much as possible, but of course, sometimes your favorite fighter will retire. Sometimes a fighter will like have a great like come up story where you watch him for 10, 11 fights in a row, and then he gets the title, and then drops it 2 fights later or whatever. But yeah, this episode was great. Of course, Kimbo Slice famously basically started the online trend of just people fighting in the streets and then getting paid for it.
Right.
Eventually moves into a cage organization that ends up going bankrupt, and eventually does find his way into the UFC via the UFC Fight House or whatever they call their reality show. And I don't think he won that season, but he was popular enough to where if somebody gains enough popularity on that show, they bring him back to the UFC under contract for very little. I think he only had one. I think he was signed for 2 UFC fights and only had one before he was released. He might have had 2 and then got released. Yeah, very good documentary. His son's on it. He had a son when he was still in high school, so his son's like got like gray hair now. Like his son's like whatever 35. But yeah, it's extremely good documentary. I mean, Dark Side guys, they all know what they're doing. And they're very entertaining to watch.
Yeah, well, they do a ton of they do a ton of research, but they also bring in a lot of people to do the interviews. We just talked about
they even had Dana White on it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They were back interviews, so it's not like they interviewed Dana for it, but they do they're able to use that type of footage, which is cool. So yeah, it's very good. I definitely want to put that on anyone's radar that's a fan of the UFC and would highly recommend it.
We also have the episode lineup. I don't know if you have it in the notes.
Yep, we'll go one by one.
Anything of notes on there that you want to bring up? I know there's one episode that I'm excited for.
The final days of Evan Tanner, because I had seen him fight, but I wasn't a huge fan of him. I think he committed suicide.
Okay.
Ultimate Fighter is the number 1 for me on this list. I mean, if I saw this list a week ago, it would have been Kimbo Slice. But as far as the remaining ones, Ultimate Fighter 1 is great because that was literally, that was WrestleMania for them. If that did not work, they would be out of business. And of course, we got the famous Stefan Bonner, who's dead, fight with, blanking on the other guy's name. But they just went out there and just beat the piss out of each other for 25 minutes on live TV. National TV. I think it was on FX. So literally in front of everyone, they went out there and showed everyone like what the UFC is about in the finale to that. And it's just an exceptional fight, and it's kind of what the UFC became after that season is what that fight was. The Nick Diaz versus the World one is one you might want to watch. Connor may be involved in that. Nick and Nate Diaz are the Diaz brothers, and they're out of it. Like one of them talks like he got CTE when he was 8 years old. I believe they both have their own like marijuana brand at this point, and that comes out on my birthday, so that's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Comes out on the 5th. Rise of Pride and the Fall of Pride. 2 episodes that are going to be awesome for me because Pride was, of course, the Japanese promotion that got started after the UFC became big, and they had a huge uprise. And of course, that's the when we were doing the Chael stuff about a year ago, whenever that was. That's when he talks about the quote-unquote fake fights in Japan where the referee's wearing an earpiece and tells the opponent when to go down. So I can't wait for that shit. And disappearance of Ronda Rousey is going to be interesting because I don't know what they can really say about her. Other
than she lost and then went to WWE.
Yeah, she lost and went to WWE, came back, whatever. Also, like, when she was fighting, like, she was the best because there was no one else. And then once the women caught up to her, same thing with Royce Gracie when he was early days UFC. When shit caught up to her, she was done.
Right.
And Triumph and Tragedy of Matt Hughes should be good. He's one of the greatest, I believe, lightweight champions of all time. So I'm looking forward because I didn't know there was much tragedy to his story. Because a lot of times, like I said, you follow a fighter until he's done fighting, and you just kind of you hear about his death 5 years later. Like that's basically the extent of it. So I'm really looking forward to it because I believe Matt Hughes is still with us. And then, of course, the downfall of the War Machine is the one you were looking forward to.
Yes, because that's the story I know about.
Does he kill a hooker?
He doesn't. He doesn't kill her. Okay. No, he was dating porn star Christy Mack, who's online. Yes. And he beat the shit out of her. Yeah, and really did a number. I think she lost a whole bunch of her teeth. She had to get plastic surgery and redo her whole entire face. Mm-hmm. He ended up getting arrested. This was within the last 10 years. Ended up getting arrested, and I believe is in jail now. But yeah, it's a crazy story, and she's hot. So,
this is our Teach Kevco about the UFC's talk. Because it's funny because you saw that, and I completely forgot about that story until you brought it up.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous stories in the last decade as far as beating up somebody. But watched a few movies. I'm gonna talk about one I watched on Netflix today. Came out today called Back in Action. This stars Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, and it's a familiar spy action movie. It takes that same formula that you've seen over and over and over again. Reminiscent of spy movies of the past, but with an added tension of family dynamic with kids involved. Directed by Seth Gordon. He did a lot of TV. He did The Office, Parks and Rec, Modern Family, Community, The Goldbergs, but he's also done films. The King of Kong, which we love, documentary, is his first movie, Fistful of Quarters. Horrible Bosses, which we both love. He had a couple misses in there, Four Christmases, Baywatch. He also did Identity Theft, which is a decent movie. But this stars Jamie Foxx, Cameron Diaz, Glenn Close plays Cameron Diaz's mother, Kyle Chandler, who's going to be in Lanterns, and Andrew Scott, who played Moriarty in the Sherlock Holmes Netflix Sherlock Holmes with Cumberbatch.
The Enola, not the Enola Holmes. Okay, the actual Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. With Cumberbatch and what's his name that played
it's not Jude Law, is it?
Bilbo.
Okay.
No, he played Bilbo in The Hobbit. I can't remember his name. Martin. I can't remember his name. But it does set up a sequel kind of at the end. Cameron Diaz doesn't know who her father is, or doesn't talk about her father throughout the whole movie, and sets up that the sequel could be going to look for her father. So, yeah, who knows? It was decent, 3.5 out of 5. It's a good action movie if you want to watch it. Kind of getting raped with the reviews right now, but it's decent. You watched a movie yesterday, I believe. You went to the theater and saw Wolfman, correct?
Yes. Do you want me to talk about this, or do you want to talk about? Okay,
I do.
Talk about this. Okay. This movie's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's not the Wolfman tale that you have known and loved, or you have not known and not loved because you have not watched the original movie.
No.
But there's nothing about the full moon. There's none of that bullshit.
It's in the
a
poster.
Straight up horror movie. Yeah, which is funny that's in the poster, but it's not like he comes out on a full moon. The whole thing takes place over the course of, outside of the beginning of the movie, the whole thing takes place pretty much over the course of one evening, most of the movie. I don't want to give any spoilers. I want you to see this movie, and I can't wait for you to see it.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
The sound in the theater was fucking incredible. I saw it in RPX. Absolutely.
Yeah, I heard.
Incredible. Also, you get some sweet. Do I say it? Yeah, I'm gonna say it. You get some sweet Wolfman on Wolfman action, as there's multiple Wolfmen in this, which is kind of a cool thing.
I've seen that in the trailer. Yeah, I saw that in the trailer.
I've stayed away from all trailers.
Yeah,
I've seen literally 13 seconds of a trailer when he gets scratched in the door. But it's cool because he slowly deteriorates into the Wolfman, and it starts with him losing his teeth, and then all of a sudden they start doing these things where his wife's talking to him, he can't talk, and his wife's talking to him, and she's like, "Baby, I love you." She's like, because this whole thing is to fix their marriage, get away, go to Oregon, fix their marriage.
Right.
And she's like, "Baby, I love you," blah, blah, blah. And she keeps talking. And as she's talking, Lee Winnall, who's fucking now my probably 5th favorite director working, does this camera trick where he takes the camera from behind her. And as it goes, panning from left to right, you go from her talking and you can understand it to just mumbles because it's from his point of view now. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't understand what she's saying. And it gets brighter, you see what he's seeing, and then it pans back and does the reverse. Very cool effect. I loved it. The sound design on those scenes are incredible, and every time they do it, it's worse and worse and more into the Wolfman persona. By the time shit kicks off in this movie, I care a lot for the family and their dynamic. There's a lot going on between the mother, the father, and the daughter. The opening scene is very good. The opening scene is kind of like a flashback. I love this movie. 4.5 straight up for me. I didn't I left the theater and I was like, that's a 4.5. Now, and usually by the next day it subsides, but no, I'm sticking with a 4.5. I really enjoyed it. Lee Winnall is one of my favorite directors. Of course, he did Upgrade and he did Invisible Man. And people are mad that this isn't like your typical like Wolfman story, and it's like he's not going to just tell the same story. And in the theater, it was me and this couple who I'm pretty sure were at the theaters the day the first one opened up in 1952. But you know,
it's funny.
Fucking came out, but it was pretty funny.
It's funny you bring up an older group of people because the next movie we're going to talk about, holy shit.
Oh yeah. Yep.
We went and saw at the beginning of the week. We saw Complete Unknown, which we've both been very excited to see. Bob Dylan biopic starring Timothy Chalamet. This movie was excellent, very, very good, and it started off with Timothy Chalamet, younger Bob Dylan, just honing his craft to become an artist, becoming a writer of music, folk singer, to the point where by the end of this movie, he sounded so much like the Bob Dylan songs that we've heard before. It's fucking crazy. How he dived into this role and just landed into it. Very, very good movie, and like I mentioned in the beginning, the theater was full of old people that were definitely around when Bob Dylan first came around. Old couples there was one guy that was lost in the theater, and his legs were hurting, so he was trying to stretch.
Cramping, yes.
He
wasn't old, although he did go to the wrong row, which is weird because he was in the handicap row. But certainly an older gentleman who got cramps in his legs and was walking around pacing in the theater. And was talking, and I don't know, he might have taken a phone call at one point. I can't be sure of that.
There was a lot of talking in the theater. This is the most talking I've heard in a while.
I went to a movie solo. It might have been Saturday night, and somebody had their fucking dog in the theater.
Yeah, you can do that now if you have a
dog.
Yeah. If you have a service animal, you can do that. I guess. But yeah, very good. 4.5 out of 5 for me. The rest of the cast was great.
I don't know who's better, him or Ed Norton.
Boyd,
they're both fantastic. I give the same score 4.5. I love this movie. Like, this is what I seriously was. I almost went to see it again after Wolfman. I was thinking about it, but decided I needed to have a life.
What's his name? Boyd Holbrook. Is that the guy's name who was in Wolverine? Yes. Who was in Logan?
Yes.
He was great as Johnny Cash.
And he's the guy. I told you, he's the guy I'm predicting will be in Swamp Thing, same director, Mangold. He's been in like 4 of his movies.
You're right.
He was in Indiana Jones. He's going to be in Swamp Thing.
He's going to be Swamp Thing. You're dead on that. Call it now. Go back to this January of 2025.
I called it like a year ago, but yes, we're recalling it.
We're recalling it. Mark it. Great movie. And I'm pretty sure I know what the next surprise review that you're going to be is, and another great movie. Kevin finally watched Wicked. Bitches.
Okay. So, my type of musical is something like A Complete Unknown or Rocket Man. You know that. I know that.
I know that, yeah.
The 6 people that listen to us know that.
Yes.
But, not huge on these stage plays turned musicals. This movie was, as a movie, taking the music out of it, was very good. I did not care for a lot of the songs. They were good. Like, don't get me wrong, they weren't terrible. But like the movie parts of this movie worked exceptionally well for me. The songs were pretty good. There was 1 or 2 I really enjoyed. I couldn't tell you the name of them. I'll have to listen to the soundtrack at some point this week once I find my headphones. But yeah, overall it's a 4.5. I don't know if I'll ever go back to it, as it is kind of long. But there's scenes I would definitely go back to, and maybe skip just some of the songs I'm not a huge fan of, just those little set pieces. But yes, overall, really enjoyed this movie. It's going on my list of top. I'm not saying it's making the top 10, but it's going on my list of movies this year that are in contention for my top 10 that I'll lay out once I see everything, which will probably be right before the Oscars. But yeah, exceptional movie. Very surprised I had as much fun with it. For an almost 3-hour movie, it did not feel that way, which is weird because I don't like musicals. But yeah, exceptional. Looking forward to the second one. I don't know if I'll see the second one in theaters. That'll probably come out though after I'm done work, so I probably will. I'm assuming it comes out in October or November.
So. November, Thanksgiving week.
Okay, so I'll do it for that. We'll go to the theaters. We'll fucking get some popcorn and touch each other. It'll be a good time. Minus the touching each other part.
Maybe. Who knows? We may fall into it, so who knows? It may just happen naturally.
The movie is really good. Did not expect to like it.
The ending. Let's talk about the ending. What were your thoughts on her big, huge reveal of defying gravity at the end?
I had known about that.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
The edible I took also helped me enjoy this movie, I think, because of all the goddamn colors. Halfway through this bitch that's been kicked in, and I was like, all right, let's go.
So, ladies and gentlemen, 4.5 with edibles is what Kevin gave the
4.5
review
with
today.
edibles, probably a 4 without.
Yes.
Still see it.
With that being said, let's get into the news. And it's not news out with a trailer roundup. A couple of trailers to talk about. One movie, I don't know what the fuck it's all about. I know it's based off a true story, I believe. But it's Robert De Niro
I don't know how
facing
I feel about this.
Robert De Niro.
I really
in
don't know how I feel about it.
a movie called Alto Nights. Yeah, I don't know. It's all about the downfall of the American mafia in modern times.
It's directed by
Barry Levinson?
So
Yeah.
that's why I'm interested, more than anything, because of him.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. It's weird, though, because even though they're playing two different characters and obviously the same actor, I don't know. They could have done more to make one look way different, but I feel like we didn't see enough of them to tell if that's going to be the correct statement. I feel like it only focused. I only watched a little bit of the trailer. I watched it on my phone because I don't like trailers. But from what I could tell, they didn't do a lot to distinguish the two. But that could just be because I was watching it on my phone at 10 a.m.
Right. Another trailer came out. This actually looked really good, called The Monkey. Written by a short story by Stephen King.
Yes.
Produced by James Wan. Directed by Osgood Perkins. I don't know who that is. And starring... God, I can't remember his name, but he's been in a whole bunch of stuff. Theo James. And he's great in the stuff I've seen him in. He's the lead of this movie. It looks really good. It's about this. Have you ever seen this monkey right there on the poster? If you're on YouTube, it's the monkey with the symbols. If you ever see that, it's supposedly it's haunted by the devil, and it goes out to seek revenge and kills people. Trailer looks good. Comes out on February 21st.
So it's Chucky, but with a monkey, basically.
Chucky with a monkey. Chuck the monkey.
Chucky the monkey.
Yep. And a trailer that I was excited for this week, I think everybody was, finally to see the full trailer for Daredevil Born Again. Show comes out on March 4th on Disney+, continuing the Daredevil story that was on Netflix, I'm guessing. We don't really know where this is in canon. We just know that they're back in New York. Wilson Fisk is going to be mayor, and and we know that White Tiger is in this. He is a person who played him died in real life, so he's going to be in this as his last acting role. And Muse, I don't know the character. I know that's the villain of this series.
Yep, I was happy because I was able to reread this after I saw the trailer.
Born Again.
Like, good excuse to reread Born Again. It's a good book.
Sweet.
Have you ever read Born Again?
Nice. I have not. I don't even think I have it. Nice.
Good.
So let's get into the rest of the news for the week. Box office last week, Den of Thieves 2 won the box office with $15.5 million. Mufasa won with second with $13.2, and Sonic 3 won with $11 million, number 3. Mufasa has surpassed $500 million globally after 4 weeks of release.
Good for it.
Moana 2 has hit the $1 billion mark in ticket sales. Is going to. And Sonic 3 is North America's second highest grossing video game, right behind the Mario movie that came out a couple years ago. So, rest in peace to David Lynch.
Oh God.
We are fans of
fucking
weirdo.
Yeah. What
Weird
a fucking
guy.
loss, though. What a loss.
We are fans of Psych, so Dual Spires is a huge part of that show.
Oh yeah.
And he created Twin Peaks, of course. He also did Dune, the first Dune. He was going to direct Return of the Jedi, and that whole thing fell apart. I believe it was Lucas's doing why he I can't remember the full story, but he was supposed to Return of the Jedi. He's done a whole bunch of TV. He did two series
Dune
of Twin Peaks.
He did Dune.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's too bad.
But yeah, rest in peace to him. Rest in peace to Jeunet Schwartz, French director. He directed Jaws 2. a movie called Somewhere in Time, which was Christopher Reeves and I believe Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. I can't remember her name.
Oh,
it's a time travel.
Yeah.
It's
They
a time
talked about
travel
the
movie. It's a time travel movie I want to see. And he also directed Supergirl. We have some Supergirl news we're going to talk about later, but he directed the movie that came out after Superman 2.
1984?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 85 years old. Rest in peace to him. Big loss this week is Bob Uecker.
Yeah, this week sucked.
Yeah.
As far
Bob
as losses
Uecker,
go.
90 years old. Of course, Major League.
Mm-hmm.
Just a bit outside. But every story you hear about...
WrestleMania 4 and 5.
Right. From WrestleMania for you, because you grew up with Bob Uecker more than I did, but what I knew Bob Uecker from... I posted a story
League,
on...
Right?
Yeah, I posted a story on my Facebook of Artie Lang and he had a mouth like a sailor. If you haven't seen the video, search on YouTube, Artie Lang, Norm Macdonald, Bob Uecker stories, and there's a great 7 and 8 minute clip about the stories of him being in the booth and muting the microphone to talk about all the chicks in the stands. And look at the tits on that hose down, and then there's a 2 balls 1 strike. It's a great story.
I saw a quote today. I'm paraphrasing this because I don't have the exact quote, but his son was in some Little League tournament or whatever, and he went 0 for 3 and had the error that cost him the game. And Uecker goes, everyone was booing us and yelling at us, and he goes, I've never been more proud as a parent in my life. Uecker was awesome. That guy was just, his voice, and you only know his voice from as far as calling games, from what you saw in Major League. But I mean, he did that every year for the Brewers for 40 seasons. He was the voice of the Brewers forever. I would have loved to have him be a hometown, because he was very much like he was in Major League, just a little bit volume turned down when he was calling Brewers games, which I've only seen a few of him call. Big loss to baseball, big loss to cinema, I suppose. He did do some cinema stuff. It would have been great if he could have taken over the spot in Happy Gilmore 2. What's his name from The Price is Right? Could you imagine if that was Uecker?
That'd been great.
That one old man with white hair for another.
Yeah, that'd been great.
Yeah.
The other thing that he was in, I don't know if you ever watched it, but back in the 80s, there was a show called Mr. Belvedere. He was a star of that as well.
Yes, he was in that.
And there's some great stories about Mr. Belvedere sitting on his nuts. If you ever want to listen to that, search Mr. Belvedere Bob Uecker stories. So, Neil Gaiman. We talked about Neil Gaiman a while ago. Creepy guy. A lot of sexual assault stuff. Well, I don't know. Yeah, Vince McMahon's still worse. Speaking of the record, he kind of came out talking about the allegations. I didn't get any exact quotes. I did hear about him, but multiple women have accused him of sexual assault. Sandman, of course, is a big show on Netflix. Season 2 is coming out soon, sometime this year.
And unfortunately, might get canceled because of this.
And I don't think it's going to continue because and that sucks because it's a great show.
Not only is it a good show, but it's a great story. And there's much more of the story besides the season 2. I think they were going to go for 5 seasons originally, I want to say. But yeah.
It's unfortunate news, but this climate or any climate you can't deal with shit like this, and especially with a company like Netflix, so they have to they'll probably do what they have to do. Speaking of fucking things up, TikTok going out of business this Sunday. So they tried to get the Supreme Court to rule them in favor of not banning it, but they denied it.
It's gone. Fucking
TikTok, it's everywhere. I do love the quick videos, but TikTok itself, the app sucks.
I'm gonna miss my boy Anator on Twitter. He always makes dope shit about the prequel trilogy. His edits are fucking really good. So I'm gonna miss that part of it. But I literally only have the app for when people send me stuff. Continue.
We have a new president coming on Sunday. Yes. This could all be the swerve of the century when Trump takes office.
I mean, basically, from what I understand, is the current president, Mr. Joseph, Bartholomew Biden.
We'll go with that.
And Donald Jr. Trump. There we go.
Jay.
He basically was like, not my problem, guy. Take it on, Donnie J.
Yeah, that's what he did.
That's
Yeah, that's
essentially
basically
what
what he said. That's
So
what he
we'll
said
see.
today.
Maybe
We'll see what
cancel,
happens.
We'll get the fucking Tiger King out of jail.
He's actually, from what I heard today, he talked to the emperor or president of Japan or China. I guess it's China, and talked to him, and they're trying to come up with a solution. Who knows?
Did you hear about the new app that they released? That's basically TikTok.
Yes.
But 700,000 people signed up for it, but the licensing agreement is only in Mandarin. So like nobody knows what the fuck.
What's it?
they're doing.
Red. It's Red something. I can't remember what the name of it is.
I heard him talk about it on sports radio.
Speaking of Trump, speaking of presidents,
Oh, that's our guy.
we
Look at him.
have new special ambassadors
Look at him
of
go.
Hollywood.
Is that the new
New
haircut
special-
looking sharp, Donnie J?
We have new special ambassadors of Hollywood named by Trump: John Voight, Sylvester Stallone, and racist, sexist Mel Gibson,
He also thinks the Holocaust is fake.
who
Right.
also thinks the Holocaust was fake. Yes. So yeah, that's where we at. That's where we're at, America. I hope you are happy come Monday when we have a new president
And
who
what did he
has
say? He wants these guys to be able to bring Hollywood back to like the golden age, like the movies.
He wants to make-
make.
pretty much he wants to make Hollywood great again. That's what he said.
You know, just let Lee Win all
And
cook.
those are his
Hollywood will be
choices. Those are his choices. Never against Trump. Not political against Trump. I'm against the
I think he's
host
hilarious.
of. I'm against the host of Celebrity Apprentice being the president. That's
I'm
all
all
it
for
is.
the next 4 years of fuckery. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Right, Cat?
As
Kitties
long as
for
you-
Trump? You
As
used to
long
wear
as
the Kitties for Trump badge.
Trump. Kitties for Trump.
Used to wear the badge proud.
Joel McHale has been cast
yes.
as Scream 7.
Yep.
Going to be Sydney's husband is probably going to be the murderer as well.
Yeah. And where the fuck is what's his nuts? The guy from Dexter. He played Mark in like fucking 3. I'm blanking
right.
on his name. Rom-com guy. You know who I'm talking about. Patrick
Yeah,
Duffy.
yeah, yeah.
Duffy? No, that's the guy from Step by Step. But Dempsey.
Oh,
Patrick Dempsey.
Dempsey, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Everyone just assumed he would be in this movie. But everyone is back now.
That's weird.
Except for Jenna Ortega and the one they fired. And Jenna Ortega,
yeah.
of course, is not coming back because she has obligations to film
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes.
Yeah.
So now I guess, we can put that to bed that she was only not going to be in it because Melissa wasn't going to be in it. I'm pretty sure she would still be in it if Melissa was fired. Maybe not.
Probably,
It's just in
yeah.
the show. But don't know how I feel about this. Hopefully he dies, and it's a great, great death. Great death.
Speaking
I'll
of
say
great
about
death, Nosferatu comes out on digital on Tuesday. So
yes.
I'm going to be watching it, and so next week we'll be talking
can't
about that
wait.
fully.
I can't
Give
wait
a full review.
to tell me about that. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Greta Gerwig directed Barbie, and she's going to be directing the new Narnia adaptation over at Netflix. She's going to deal with IMAX to release those on IMAX for the first 2 weeks of release before they show up on Netflix.
Good for her, because
So, yeah.
that's the biggest or the worst part about Netflix.
Yeah,
No.
it is.
No theater releases. Say what you will about the Rebel Moon movies. I would have seen them in theater because that's the best way to view a Zack Snyder film. They need to get their shit together. And I've been saying this because it works so well for Knives Out, is release a movie for 2 weeks, take it off for 2 weeks, and then drop it on Netflix, or 3 weeks, or the last days in the theater, drop it on Netflix, something like that. I think it would work out best for everyone. Then you could also promise back end, or a little bit of back end anyways, to directors and people that work in their movies, the actors. But yeah, good for her actually getting this deal done, getting it to theaters, because Netflix are assholes when it comes to that.
Goonies 2 and Gremlins 3 are in early development. This is from a Deadline article that I have yet to find. I've been looking for this article everywhere. I figured I'd bring it up. I guess Christopher Columbus is coming in, or Chris Columbus, not the racist Spanish explorer, but Chris Columbus coming in and writing Goonies 2, I believe, or maybe it's Gremlins. I can't remember, but he's coming in for one of them. These movies, especially Goonies 2, has been rumored forever. There's supposed to be another take of it. It was supposed to be filmed.
I think
don't know if that
Gremlins
ever.
is being done by the son of the director of the first two.
Okay.
I thought.
Okay.
Unless he got canceled, because that might have happened.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Severance. Never saw it. It's on Apple TV. Adam Scott produced and directed by Ben Stiller. It's a popular show. And they did a live glass box in the middle of Grand Central Station in New York. And they had the whole entire cast of this fake, I guess it's an office in the show, Lumen Industries, including Adam Scott, and all the co-stars of the show are all in there for like an hour or so.
I want to start this show. I might watch it. I might watch season 1 this week. I've heard it's one that you have to stick with and doesn't get very good until the end, but I heard it's very much worth it if you just stick with it. People that gave up in like episode 2 or 3, and then they went back and they said, okay, like you have to get through like 4 or 5 episodes and then it kicks in. And I love Adam Scott.
There's a sci-fi aspect to it, I believe, too.
Yes.
Something like that. So, yeah. We got our first look at Steamboat Willie in the horror movie, played by David Howard Thornton, who is Art the Clown.
Terrifier.
Called, Terrifier. This is Scream Boat Willie, I guess is what this one is. But, yeah. Okay. Conan O'Brien is going to be receiving a Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Just announced yesterday. Conan just lost both of his parents like last month. Yeah. All within days of each other. So yeah.
Oh my god. I just went to the next. Oh my god.
We got some swag.
Oh my god.
Swag. Stuff we all get.
Come on, son. You know that's right.
Does this image come with a change of underwear?
No, it does not. But it does come with a piece of kryptonite and the Fortress of Solitude. We've got Funko Pops of a lot of characters from the original Superman movie. Lois Lane in her nightgown from the famous scene where they're flying in the air. We got Lex Luthor with a bald head.
Oh my god.
We also have Brando.
Lex is clenching his fucking toupee in that photo.
I know. And we also have Brando as Jor-El. So yeah, this looks awesome. All of these. So yeah, we're going with the year of Superman. Oh, by the way,
I'm going to be buying a lot of Funkos. I can just tell from. I'll be buying at least. Okay, I'm getting the Fortress Superman.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Lois. I'm getting the Lex clenching his toupee, and I'm getting the Jor-El for sure. I'll probably end up getting Lois.
You're gonna have.
I'm a completionist. I just need one Lex Luthor, and I want the one. Shut the fuck up. I just want the one Lex Luthor clenching his fucking. Shut the fuck up. Clenching
You're
his
gonna have
toupee.
every single one of these on your shelf by the end of the year. Very exciting. Year of Superman. By the way, little homework assignment for both of us. The last week of this month, a couple weeks from now, let's tackle the Max Fleischer Superman serials.
I've already been watching them, so I'm
cool.
Deep involved. And we'll do Superman for All Seasons. We'll wrap up the month with the comic review because that book is fucking incredible, and I've read it like 4 times in the last 6 months. So.
Yep. So we're gonna start our year of Superman in just a couple weeks. So stay tuned. Got a brand new announcement for the Switch 2, the least secretive release ever for Nintendo. This leaked everywhere weeks before, but we finally got the official look at it. Ta-da! There it is. Looks like the Switch 1 is a little bit bigger, a little bit better. I have lost my mouse. Hold on a second. Are you still there?
How did you lose your mouse?
I think it died.
Oh, okay. You mean the mouse died?
There we go. Yep.
They need to
there it is.
Way to plug it in. Like, can they add the things you can plug it in here instead of here, so you can actually use it when it's plugged in? Come on, Apple.
Well, I have my touch the touchpad, which is better. But,
okay.
And we also got a new Mario game announced.
Oh yeah.
Mario Kart 9.
I'm buying the Switch 2 and the Mario Kart. Fucking sue me.
Here's some renders of everything, what it's going to look like. Got a new kickstand. Of course, we talked about it before. The controllers are going to be magnetic instead of having the stupid slide-on shit that used to be.
Can they fix their online situation / the situation in which your games don't save anywhere except for in the Switch? So if it dies, you're fucked. Can they change that for me?
I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing a whole, including price going up. They're going to be doing a whole overhaul of Nintendo Online. So we'll see about that. But yeah, not there yet. Slow down, reverse it. So yeah, very excited. Very excited for the Nintendo Switch. The rumor is that the prices are going to be around $449. So expensive. One of the most the most
Yeah.
expensive Nintendo system.
And you know what's gonna
Almost
happen?
$500 with
It's
the
gonna
Mario
come
Kart
out-
bundle.
It's going to come out around the time I'm done work, which means
Your
bonus time.
goes.
So, fuck.
When the original Switch launched, this is $150 more than that. So, yeah, it's they're getting high in price. Not
But
surprised.
You'll be
It's
able
the way
to
it
trade in
is.
your original Switch if you want, because I'm assuming this is backwards compatible.
Usually. Yep.
I think early February they're going to have the specs out, I think. So I'm assuming it's backwards compatible, which would be the
Yeah,
smart
there's
way to do things.
There's a spec announcement coming out on February 2nd. And I
That's
believe in
exactly
April there's going to be or games are being announced in February and more specs are coming out in April.
Okay,
I
see,
can't remember
what
the
I heard-
timeline, but it's something.
What I heard is the American system's fucking everything up. So it's either going to be
Okay.
on 2/4/25 or 4/2/25 is what I heard.
Right. Yeah, who
So-
knows? Yeah,
Could be both
we don't
those
know.
things.
Yep. I didn't hear about this till this week. I guess there was a prominent marketing chief of Warner Brothers that got fired just a couple weeks ago. And they fired him right before this big, huge, busy year that Warner Brothers, all these
Yes.
gambles that they're going to be taking for all these this slate of films are coming out, including, of course, we know Superman, but Mickey 17, the Frankenstein movie, the Sinners movie, Ryan Coogler's Sinners, The Bride with Maggie Gyllenhaal. So yeah, there's a lot of big movies, but they fired this marketing chief. Don't know why. They also got this Leonardo DiCaprio movie that's cost $130 million to make. So yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what this is all about, but I wanted to bring it up to see if you knew anything about it. But I don't really know
Yeah, here's
much.
right now. Got fired.
Okay.
And certain fan base is celebrating.
Right.
But I mean, I'm sure, honestly, with a lot of this stuff, they already have the marketing figured out. Maybe not the stuff toward the end of the year they hadn't started marketing, but I mean, they've been marketing Mickey 17 for 3 months. Superman is not getting any more additional marketing. I'm sure they've already planned that out. Plus, this guy was a Warner Brothers guy, so he probably would have been helping with DC stuff, but I have no idea how that works or if James has his own marketing people. But yeah, we'll see.
The director of The Flash, which is his name,
Andy Muschietti.
Andy Muschietti, talking about why The Flash flopped.
Yeah,
Because people don't care. Because people don't care about the character, especially women don't care about the
Yeah,
character.
he should not have said that. And I understand he speaks a different language. A lot of these podcasts are coming from Spanish-speaking podcasts when he talks. So things may be lost in translation as to what he meant, but he should probably not have said that. Plus, Grant Gustin was a great Flash, and people loved him for 9 seasons, mostly.
James Mangold, speaking about Swamp Thing, his movie he's going to be directing, going to be gothic horror. Zach quote was, "While I'm sure DC views Swamp Thing as a franchise, I'll be viewing it as a very simple, clean gothic horror movie." So
Yep.
in other words, fuck your unified universe.
Which I
this is going to be a
love.
standalone.
I love
Yeah.
this. I love that they're operating more under the guise of an actual movie studio, to where they're taking pitches and they don't have to work that character in. They just want a good movie, and they can make a Swamp Thing movie for like $80 million and have it be awesome. So I do like that it's not going to be fully connected, because that also allows the artists and the creators to work outside the zone of. Because I never saw Swamp Thing as being a member of the Justice League or anything, unless they eventually do Justice League Dark. But he's going to do his own thing with Swamp Thing, and James can always bring the character back. He won't be involved, but if they need to do a Justice League Dark or needed them for another movie, they could always bring him back, because there's already a Swamp Thing movie that hopefully was successful 3 years before. So that's one thing I look forward to. But yeah, he basically is saying fuck your shared universe and fuck canon. Basically, I'm going to do my own thing. And it's probably going to be a better movie for it as opposed to forcing things into it. So,
I remember sitting in the Pizza Hut restaurant when I was really, really young,
yeah.
and there used to be a Swamp Thing used to be a TV show back in the 80s,
Yes.
90s, early 90s.
And a movie in the 80s, yes.
And I remember having the action figure, and it had like an arm that came off the Swamp Thing, and it
I
had like
had
a
that,
rope
yep.
connected to it.
Yep, I had that.
I remember playing with that in the booth of Pizza Hut.
Yep.
But yeah, excited for that movie.
Swamp Thing's always been one of my favorite and most look forward to projects since the announcements because it's just
Yep.
so different. And I mean, the saga of the Swamp Thing that's based on right there is fantastic book, fantastic. And yeah, so like I said,
Speaking of DC, Woman of Tomorrow is now in production. Their social media posted the official logo for the movie, which is the official logo of the comic book. And Millie Alcock was announced today, going to be debuting in Superman.
yes, which we all knew.
And also,
you can see her in the trailer, but so we all kind of did.
announcing casting of her parents. This came out today. David
Yes.
Krumholtz and Emily Beecham are going to be playing
My guy from
Super.
Numbers. I love that
Yep.
guy in Numbers.
And he was
on
also in
Psych.
Santa Claus, Psych.
Psych,
He's been in a
Psych.
bunch of stuff.
Oppenheimer.
Yep. And they're going to be playing the parents of Millie Alcock's Supergirl. So yeah, very excited for that. We got some pictures of
I
them
swear to
in
God,
the,
if
of
we
course,
end
the
up
comic
getting-
book run.
If we get Tom Wellington as Jor-El, I'll be very excited.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. But yes,
We may have the first glimpse of the Century. I saw this floating around
in
online.
the trailer. What do they call him in the trailer? Just like Bob.
Bob.
Or Randy.
Yep.
Bob. Okay.
Bob.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll see about that. We're not sure when we're going to get that reveal. Probably not till the movie comes out.
Probably not to the end of the movie. Honestly, it'll literally be like the climax of the film when we get
In
him.
the strangest concept art ever for a movie, for Kraven the Hunter, I'm going to just show this. It's a sequence of symbiotes on a planet, and the question was like, where would this have fit into the Kraven movie? No idea, because Venom wasn't part of it, the symbiotes weren't a part of it, so who knows? The Sony being Sony for you. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Not only did we get a new poster, but we did find out the reveal of the dates of when these episodes are going to be coming out. Starting on January 29th, episode 1 and 2. A week later, on your birthday, episode 3, 4, and 5. February 12th, 6, 7, 8. And February 19th, episode 9 and 10. There's going to be 10 episodes altogether.
So they're
We got a
dropping
new poster.
multiple at a time.
Yeah,
like
dropping
that.
multiples.
I like
yeah,
that
every
idea.
week. Yeah, it's
Should be
good.
good.
Instead of coming out every day, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that
Or
too.
every week. Yeah. This is a nice release strategy. I like that. Good job. Disney.
Final runtime for Captain America: Brave New World is 1 hour and 58 minutes, the shortest of all the Captain America movies. Some of
They
the
made
shortest
big deal about that
movies.
during the Marvels run when it was like an
Yeah.
hour and 35 minutes, and they were like, "Can't be good, shortest Marvel movie." So
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Got
The concern
some-
for that movie is all the fucking reshoots. That's the concern,
Right.
not the runtime.
And all of the merch that's going to be in the movie theater. Oh my god, this is from. Where is this from? Cinemark? I can't remember where this was from, but we got some new popcorn buckets.
Cinemark.
Got new popcorn buckets, a helmet popcorn bucket, shield popcorn bucket. We also got this from, I believe, Regal. Yes, this is Regal. We got the cups there with the Captain America and the Red Hulk. We also got the Red Hulk exclusive popcorn bucket. We got the Captain America popcorn pail. We got a plush. I don't know if I have the plush on here, but we also have this. This is from AMC. It's a collapsible Captain America shield, popcorn bucket and cup, collector's cup. Also got 6 brand new posters today for Dolby 4DX, Art Real 3D IMAX, so on and so forth. Some of them are pretty cool looking.
This comes out in February, right?
Just went on sale today for tickets. Yes,
Did you get tickets for us yet?
I have not because I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
I haven't talked to anybody
and then
else. But yeah.
And then it's the other one is in May. And then
Yeah, that's
Fantastic Four in July.
Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four in
Okay.
July. Yep.
Cool.
Iron Man star Ferrum Tier. Don't know the name, but he's the guy who pretty much made Tony Stark create himself a Iron Man suit in the first movie. I believe I have a picture of him right here. He has joined the cast of the Vision Quest movie, or Vision TV show on Disney Plus. Came out on Deadline yesterday. And finally, in weird news, this Justin Bilardi and Blake Lively whole trial thing that's going on. He filed a lawsuit for $400 million against them, and because he alleges they sought to destroy him through the press and whatever. Also demand Disney, Kevin Feige and everybody, Bob Iger, and to preserve all documents relating to Ryan Reynolds' Nice Pool in Deadpool Wolverine, saying that Nice Pool was a reaction to him, was an actual adaptation of what he is like in real life, what they thought he was, like a snarty asshole, I guess. But yeah, other than that, a new lawsuit that they have to deal with, and supposedly this guy is the biggest asshole. It's not just Blake Lively saying this. A lot of the other co-stars, directors, and people that know the situation have said the same thing, that he was just a complete prick.
It's like a Joss Whedon situation all over again.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. But
where you know, he's just a regular guy, and then all of a sudden people start talking shit. He's out of Hollywood.
Yep. That's it for the show. That's it for news. Next week we're going to talk about Dexter episode 7. Jessica Jones. Been watching the second season. I'm going to talk about the second season. It's a slow slog to get through.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one, yeah. I will say Artie Bucco from The Sopranos is in it. And it's all about Jessica trying to find her powers again, or where they came from. So, another thing I want to bring up, have you ever seen this movie called The Devil All the Time? It was on Netflix a couple years ago.
Yeah, with Matt Peterson, right? Patterson.
Robert Pattinson, Tom Holland, Bill Skarsgård,
of course I've seen
Sebastian Stan. I've never seen this movie, never even heard about it until this week.
I watched it because Pattinson was in it before Batman came out.
Okay. For some reason this week,
until like halfway through the movie, I was very upset.
For some reason this week, it took a lot of steam. I don't know why. It's gone viral, but this is the poster for it. If anybody wants to check it out, I may watch it this week, and we may talk about it. We got a light week, so besides getting through Jessica Jones, which is going to be a slog.
Act circles around everyone else.
Yeah, I can see that.
He does this weird, like, Southern preacher thing in the movie, so it's, like, kind of funny. But he's very good. Everyone in the movie is actually pretty decent. Tom Holland.
Jason Clarke's in it, too. He's great in, yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to watch that this weekend.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Cool. All right, so that's it. We'll talk to everybody next week. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Peace.
We're the Geek Blurb crew, here to enlighten you, talking all things geeky, from movies to wrestling to our podcast is the place where you wanna be for all the latest news and nostalgia from the 80s and 90s. We review comic book flicks and sci-fi hits, riding the wave of action movies with all the cool bits. From Iron Man to Star Wars, we cover it all. And when it comes to wrestling, we never drop the ball. Geek Blurb, we're the kings of the nerds, rating movies and pineapples, our opinions never blurred. Join us each week for a geeky chat with the latest scoop and a dose of nostalgia that. So if you're a fan of the comic book craze, or a lover of sci-fi and all its maze, tune in to Geek Blurb, we're here to entertain.